This week I wanted to talk about paying with your time or paying with your money when it comes to progressing in video games. When on my way back from PAX this year, me and my con mates were talking, and we were discussing things like unlocking things in video games, such as like RPGs, weapons and experience, first-person shooters like Call of Duty attachments and perks, and it really got me thinking about what do I value, my time or my money? And brought up the discussion of, well, is it okay to pay to unlock things in video games? Is that right or wrong? So it really got me thinking and really wanted me to sit down, and I want to discuss that this week. First thing is that there's many adult people nowadays who working full-time, maybe even part-time, who don't really have the time to spend 40 hours to play a game during the week, just don't have the time to do that. Teenagers and college students, usually do have the time to spend lots and lots of hours playing those games because they have just more free time. I remember back in my high school days and even early 20s and college days, that was when I was playing mostly, dropping 40 hours a week on things like Halo, even playing things like Legend of Zelda and stuff like that. Like, I never was a Legend of Zelda fan, but the one game I did play, I did, put a lot of time into it, and I played a lot of Pokemon back in the day too. And you just spend hours and hours in playing that. Nowadays, it's really tough. So I see the real value in being able to pay to unlock certain things. Like, let's just take a first-person shooter, for example. Let's go with, like, Call of Duty or Titanfall. Let's say that you've got a gun you really like and you really want to, have that gun to be your gun. And you've got to pay hours and hours to unlock the attachments for that gun, like maybe a sight or a silencer or just anything along those lines. You can just pay your $5 or $10, get the attachment you want, and call it a day. And then you can play your hour, 30 minutes you can each week or every other day, and you'll be able to enjoy the experience just as much as the next guy, because you want to be able to play the game still and be relatively competitive. Of course, there are some negatives to this, because the first thing you would want to say is that wouldn't it be more of a pay-to-win type scenario then? Well, then it would really come down to how the game designers design the game. Like, I see, as long as they go along with that, no matter what, if the starting weapons are balanced pretty correctly, and that the progression system is so no matter what, you can unlock everything just like those people who paid the $5 or $10 for those attachments or perks or whatever, well, then I see nothing wrong with that. Some people do not have the time, like some kids do nowadays, and as long as you can unlock those things for free, you're not paying more for the game. You're paying a little less than the guy who paid more money for it. He values his time over, the couple of bucks that he can just to get those weapons right there and now. And I see real value in that. And this wouldn't work in other things too. Like, let's take RPGs, for example. Let's say you have a generic JRPG type of deal. Those things usually, mostly when you play those games, they demand a 15 to 20 to 40 hour type of experience. Well, maybe some people want to, breeze through that game a little quicker. They just want to see the story bits. They don't necessarily want to grind to level up. If the game's designed well, maybe you shouldn't be grinding in the first place, but that's besides the point. Say you don't want to grind. Well, you can maybe pay for like 24 hours or maybe 2 days or 3 days or maybe even a weekend type deal where you get double XP on everything you kill or every encounter you do. Well, I think that'd be very valuable because someone could then still play through the game, get their story bits, and the game goes just a little bit faster because you're leveling up quicker, so you can kill your encounters faster, move along the story faster, or maybe just unlocking certain items through the game, or maybe unlocking things like certain quest items that'd be a little harder to get. I think there'd be real value in that because then you could play through the game, enjoy the experience, and you saved a bunch of time. Go back to work the next day. You don't have to. So you got to wake up at 6 a.m. Well, you can't stay up till like 3 a.m. playing that game this time. Just getting a little bit farther so you can see those little story bits. There's just a lot of real value in there, and those are some examples that could work very well. Now the downfalls of this would be the pay-to-win type of scenario. If the developers do not design this correctly, then it could be very, very bad. You could get players that from the very beginning of a game just drop $20 to $30, have the best equipment, best attachments, and then it's just really hard for someone who is starting off and just wants to play the game and upgrade through time for them to compete. It'd be really, really tough for them, and then might discourage them from playing the games. So it really, really has to come down to how well these developers design this game. If they don't design it well, it's just not going to be a good experience overall. But these are just some ways that developers can expand and cause just better experiences for people overall. And, I just always was a fan of this idea, and I see nothing wrong with that. And I just would enjoy it very likely if I saw more games do these type of things. Because nowadays it's really tough for me, you're working full-time and working second job part-time. Just don't have the time like I used to, put 40 hours into the game. It's just really, really tough. And, hope to see more of this in the future. And that's been your Mac Attack for the week. Catch you all next week.